The Milwaukee Brewers have been playing with fire all season long. You get out to an early lead in some of these games and barely hold on. And this time they played with fire and got burned against the Orioles. And they had a great opportunity to, take a big step forward, I thought, on Thursday. And they didn't. We'll talk about that. And are the Brewers a serious contender? We'll talk about a tweet I put out and get your response next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. I put out a tweet about midway through this game today. Brewers had a 3-0 lead. You know, quite often this year, they've jumped out to an early lead. In fact, I saw on Todd Rosiak's piece in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, he said the Brewers are third in the league with the most runs scored in the first inning. That's odd, considering they're one of the worst offenses in the league. But the stats show that they'll score in the first inning. Now, there's been times this year where they've scored in the first inning and they've barely held on in the end. And about midway through this game, I was like, against a good team like the Orioles, who I felt was like beating on the door all series long, but just couldn't play any runs, thought, don't be sitting on this lead against these guys. And sure enough, and this is not on the Brewer bullpen. This is on the crazy Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, they just, I don't know, man. These guys just make you want to pull your hair out sometimes. Go out and look so great and 16 hits, 10 runs on Wednesday night. Score 3 right away, right out the bat. First inning. They go, okay, it's going to be a Brewers gate. They're going to go ahead and sweep this series. They're going to go ahead and sweep the series against one of the best teams in the American League. As that game was going on, I was like, uh-oh, here they are. The Brewers doing Brewer things, sitting on that lead of 3-0. Just sitting on that lead. And, losing, Strzelecki gave up the lead in the 8th inning. And, of course, they brought Bryce Wilson in the 9th inning. And he padded that lead for the Orioles, giving up 2 more runs. But this is not in the bullpen. Colin Ray pitched great again. 5 innings, 8 strikeouts. I mean, come on. You can't go out there and give Colin Ray some offensive support. I don't get this team. The Brewers have done this so many times in the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years. They get off to this early lead, and we're good. A couple of Sundays ago against San Francisco, when the Giants took the first 3 games of the series, Brewers out to a 7-0 lead. I told Shannon, my girlfriend next to me, I said, watch, the Brewers won't score the rest of the day. Sure enough, did not score any more runs. Had to hold on for like a 7-5, 7-6 win. But I don't get it. I guess that part I don't understand. And I put out a tweet as well. Are the Brewers legitimate contenders? And this is when they have the 3-0 lead. I put this tweet out. Are they legitimate contenders? Because at times you want to say, yeah. And maybe I picked a bad day for it because they were up 3-0 and they blew it. Obviously, they lost 6-3. But we'll read what you guys had to say coming up here in a little bit. Brewers against Bradish, Kyle Bradish, the Orioles starter, they got to him early. I mean, they could have just eliminated him early on. Let him settle in. He retired like 14 of the next 16 hitters. And, of course, the Brewers just settled in. They were good with that 3-0 lead. Just don't understand it. And you hear the same thing. Well, we took 2 or 3 from the Orioles. No, I mean, you had a chance to sweep these guys. Yeah, I don't want to hear, well, at least they took 2 or 3 from the Orioles. Not in this case. Good teams rattle off a winning streak and get going and go on a little bit of a roll because you have the Oakland A's who are destined to become the worst team in baseball history. Not the worst team in baseball, the worst team in baseball history. They're on track to become the worst team in baseball history. So you could theoretically have won that game Thursday, swept the Oakland A's this weekend. And I don't say that often about sweeping a baseball team, but I mean, it was there for you. And then you moved 10 games over the 500 mark. And I don't get it. 5 games over, fine. I mean, it was a 2-game swing. They should have won this game Thursday. They got too comfortable early on, like they've done so many times this year. And I don't know what that's from. I don't know if that's leadership, the makeup of this team, the locker room. Don't know. It's hard to understand. But man, you score 3 runs. You've scored 41 runs in the first inning, according to Todd Rosiak today. 3rd best in the National League, 6th best in baseball. When runs are so hard to come by, yet you got that kind of number on you. You score in the first inning, and then we're good. You sit back and you don't score any more runs. God, that's not a sign of a championship team right there. So I'm going to get to that coming up here in a little bit. If you think the Brewers are legit contenders, because that plays a part into it. When you lose games like Thursday and you get a great start. The pitching staff, the bullpen, I'm fine with the bullpen. I thought the starting staff did great this series. Starting staff, all 3 of those guys, fantastic. And the bullpen, okay. Strzelecki gave it up. Piamp started the ball rolling in the 7th inning. Strzelecki kept it going in the 8th. And, of course, Bryce Wilson, he had been pitching well for Bryce Wilson. And he put that game out of reach by giving up a 2-run double in the 9th inning. This might be the most frustrating loss of the season for me. Might be because of what, and I know it's June, but I still look at the calendar and say, man, this is one of these games. You're up 3-0. And you didn't have a chance to, not the bullpen giving up the lead, but you didn't have a chance to pad onto that lead. You were sitting on that lead all game, thinking it was okay. No fight, no fire, nothing. Week at bats. I just don't get it. That's frustrating, man. I think these guys could be so much better than this. Again, they had won like 6 of 7, playing some good baseball. And then you have a frustrating game like that. And please, I don't want to hear that, it's just one game stuff. I don't, because every game counts to me. And when you have a chance to sweep a team like the Orioles and had that momentum going into this weekend series with Oakland, you blew it. But they've done it too many times this year, getting out to that early lead and just not taking it home. Are the Brewers contenders? Are they legit contenders? Win or lose? I was going to do this tonight. We'll get to your tweets. A lot of you are not happy right now. I get that. But we're gonna sift through all that coming up here next here on Locked On Brewers. By the way, I was so frustrated to start this show today. I've done that a few times this week. I've not introduced myself, Chuck Freeman from Locked On Brewers on Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thank you for joining us, downloading us on your various platforms, Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on there. And of course, YouTube. Man, our YouTube page is just growing and growing. Our videos growing. I love that. Please subscribe to our YouTube video. We drop it every day. We'll be here this weekend with these Ace games. We'll be here. A little shorter on the weekends, but we'll still do the 15-minute version, a little shorter on weekends. Search Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell there. It's going to alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. And, of course, follow me on Twitter as well. Chuck Freeman, Freimund. I always love to hear what you have to say. I'm going to use some of your tweets, of course, here in the show. I've been covering the team for over 40 years for AP, morning sports anchor at 1310 WIBA in Madison as well. Always love hearing from the great fans of Wisconsin and the Milwaukee Brewers. And, of course, worldwide, I looked at the analytics. Worldwide, we have subscribers from like 20 different countries, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool that you can get tickets for this weekend series from Game Time. I got my tickets this weekend for Sunday's game against Oakland in the club section, third level, my favorite section. I'll be down the right field line. Love to say hello to you guys. If, you see me walking around the stadium, I go to the Brewers. I always go to the Bud Selig experience before the game. Take my 12-year-old every time I go. I try to go. If I'm there as a fan to see it, shed a tear or two. I'm sorry. That video, that ceiling experience still gets to me. That just shows that they've done a great job with that. So, and the Brewers and A's coming up on Friday night, 7:10 with the broadcast, Sirius XM, the SXM app, search Brewers, and you'll get all 162 games right there on Sirius XM. Love that they are part of us. And you know what? Thank you, everydayers out there, all you everydayers out there who download the video, who watch us, who listen to the podcast on your way to work in the morning, when you're getting ready for work, when you're driving around. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, go to your various platforms to find that. I'm going to tell you about Game Time now. That's what I was getting at. I got my tickets to Game Time for this weekend's games, flash deals, last-minute tickets. You're going to get images of your seat views. I clicked on there. I saw right where I was sitting. Right where I was sitting, I was saying, all right, I'll take all three of those seats, me, Shannon, and my 12-year-old Brady. So we're all going to be at the game. You'll get images of the seat views, lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection. Forget planning months in advance. I did a couple of days in advance, but you can get last-minute tickets. And those tickets are right there for you on game day. Just go right there, and you'll see sometimes the prices drop right in Game Time. Game Time has tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals, football, baseball, basketball, concerts, comedy, theater, and a whole lot more. And you'll find just great tickets on there. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKDOWNMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Can create an account, redeem the code LOCKDOWNMLB for $20 off your first purchase. So take advantage of that. You're going to get tickets, $20 off, man. We could all use that. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Are the Brewers a contender, a legit contender? We'll get to that next here on Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along here on Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Thank you for those of you downloading us or watching us on YouTube on a Thursday night into a great Wisconsin weekend. I see for Sunday's game against the Oakland A's, it's going to be a little rain, like 60 degrees on Sunday. It's going to go from Saturdays in the 80s to Sundays in the low 60s with a chance of rain. So could have the roof covering AmFam Field, but that's okay. That's okay. We get to still see baseball. Coming up also here, we'll preview the Oakland A series coming up here a little bit and just tell you just how bad they are. I want to go through some of your tweets here. What you had to say, because some of you were not happy, and I get that. I said, sat on an early lead again. Yep, and got burned. This after I said earlier in the game, don't be sitting on that early lead, Milwaukee Brewers. Kurt writes, Ray, 5 innings, no runs, 8 Ks, should not have been pulled. Was at the game. In the 5th inning, the bullpen gets going. Ray would have pitched an inning to an inning and 2/3 more. He was in control. I think their situation with Ray is get him out of there when the going is good. Get him out. That's what I think. I hear you. I don't like starters getting pulled earlier either, Kurt. I definitely get that, but it is it's not fun to see your starting pitcher get pulled after he's on the roll, and the bullpen blows it. But this is not on the bullpen. Pacer says, Ray getting taken out is unacceptable. Counsel strikes again. Are the Brewers contenders? Chris says, unfortunately, no. Samari says, it reminds me of the time I didn't get a written agreement with my ex-wife for a placement of our children. Now I only get them for 2 weeks because they want to spend their entire summer in New York. I got burned. I knew I should have talked to my attorney before agreeing to a deal. Well, some quick words of advice. Yes, never take a handshake deal in a situation like that, or never, ever take anybody's word on anything involving that big. Let's see. I think Sam says, I think Piamps is still the best option. He's been a little shaky the last 2 days. Strzelecki is so inconsistent. Strez started off the season strong, but I hear you. Maybe the last 3 weeks or so hasn't been great. Haig says the Brewers need to figure out the setup man role. Strzelecki hasn't been horrible. He's just not an eighth inning role pitcher. Thoughts? Hags, yes, I said this from the very start of the season. The Brewers need to go out and get themselves an eighth inning man and some offense. Starters, they're good. I'm going to take a quick drink here. Powerade. For those of you listening on the platform. Yeah, they need an eighth inning guy. They need a whole lot of everything, to be honest with you, except starting pitching. They need Woodruff back. But eighth inning, yes. But, yeah, Strez blew that lead. But let's not come down on him. Shouldn't have come down to that. Build on the lead. Build on the 3-run lead in this game. Let's see here. Boy, there's a ton of tweets today. Brewers blow the lead. Not a chance that these guys can be contenders, says Wayne. The run differential always tells the truth about a team. That's true. I don't think they're legitimate contenders right now either. They're going to go to they could go to the postseason, but right now they don't have a championship level team. They just don't. Missing that eighth inning guy. Their offense is not good. There's nobody in that 1 through 9 in that order who should go to the All-Star game. And on a team that's a legit contender, I don't care if you have Sandy Koufax, Greg Maddux in your starting rotation. You got to be able to get some guys on and hit. Eagle writes, the Brewers are a choker. Ty replied, how do you talking about Strzelecki? Man, I've been saying this to my friends. Peter does not deserve the eighth inning. He gives up base runners and RBIs every time he pitches. Yeah, he's not an eighth inning guy. He's a seventh inning guy. He isn't. He's pitching better than anybody thought, though. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he's not an eighth inning guy. Undrafted free agent, one of those kind of guys. He's pitching above anybody expected, but no, he's not. He's an eighth inning guy for now. But a lot of you guys coming at the bullpen. Dr. Granadon says, no way, the bullpen has holes, not much clutch hitting. Well, not much clutch hitting. Only true person in that bullpen is Devin Williams you can count on. And that's the only guy when something's going on, Devin coming in, you feel awfully good. Anybody else? Not so much. Logan says they seem like the same time. Logan says, here, this is a good point. Logan seems like they're the same team as the last 5 years. Solid pitching, good defense, but painfully inconsistent offense. Just my opinion. No, Logan, you're right on. You're right on. Yeah, they are. That's what I'm saying. The last 5 years, we've seen this. I think 2018 was better. Although in that Dodgers series in 2018, offensively, I still say in that series in Los Angeles, they get some things going in those last 2 games in LA. They go on to the World Series. Spencer says, yes, I still think they contend. It's baseball. Spencer's going to go down with the ship. He's a true blue Brewer fan. Brewer should have been able to contain this offensive explosion, says Al. Yeah, they did. So not a lot of you. Well, a lot of you guys get coming. I'm looking at the tweets here. A lot of you guys coming at Strez today. Scott says there is hope. Get a couple of more healthy bodies. Yelich batting .275 at the end of the season. Have someone like Weimer become a consistent, reliable option. And yes, they are contenders. Must beat teams like the Oakland A's at least 2 or 3. Yeah, they got to beat the A's. They can't have the A's come in here and take 2 or 3. The A's just took 2 or 3 from Pittsburgh. But yeah, Weimer rookie. I'm not counting on the rookies. Whatever I get from them this year is a bonus. But I'm not relying on Joey Weimer to carry this team. Just like I wasn't relying on all those rookies to start the season. The Bryce Terangs. No, the veterans have got to take the lead here, and they need a couple of more bats. Buck says, yes, they can contend, but they have to improve the holes. More relief pieces. Strez is not the proper late inning game reliever. Urias should be benched for his silly defensive lapses on easy plays. Urias just got back. His great plays did not make up for his carelessness. The defense has been pretty good for the Brewers. I think that's something I haven't stated enough here on the show, just how good the defense has. The defense has been rock solid on this team. Really good. No problem with the defense. They're not good. They're not contenders. They're not strong contenders right now. And again, you got to go out and sweep the A's. When you get the Orioles, you get up to a 3-0 lead, and you're resting on it. And they've done that so many times this year, and they've gotten away with it because of their pitching. Yeah, the bullpen let them down, but maybe the offense could pick them up for a change. Yeah, scored a lot of runs for Corbin Burns on Wednesday night. 10 runs, okay. Couldn't come back and build on that. Now, I'm hoping by finishing off that game, 8 scoreless innings, the Brewers, we're not going on another Brewers scoreless streak on this team because I can't handle that anymore. You know, it's just, especially with the Oakland A's coming to town, because these numbers I'm going to read for you about the Oakland A's and how bad they are. I mean, this is an awful team that's coming to town. We'll get to that coming up next. The Brewers and A's play a first of 3 at AmFam Field coming up on Friday night. Of course, you get the hometown broadcast 7:10 with that first pitch. Catch every pitch of the Brewers hometown broadcast, Sirius XM, the SXM app, search Brewers. Thank you all you everydayers out there for following us on the downloads on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell right there. Chuck Freeman. Follow me on Twitter, FREIMUND. Hit us on Google, Spotify, Apple, all the platforms for downloading the audio version of Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. We'll come back and tell you about the Oakland A's and why the Brewers should sweep this series against the A's. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along. How bad are the Oakland A's? Well, the Oakland A's, let's update their record because they lost to Pittsburgh today. But the Oakland A's are on pace to become among the worst teams in baseball history. The A's are 14-50 as of this taping. As of this taping of this. So, they're 29th in batting average, 26th at OPS, 28th in the league in runs scored. They've allowed the most home runs by the pitching staff. The pitching staff has allowed the most walks in the league. This was a team that was pretty good a couple of years ago. Made the wild card a few years ago. They had some 90-win teams. They blew it up. And here they are. Maybe in the final season of them in Oakland before going to Las Vegas, although seems like there is a reverse strike against the Oakland A's. Instead of banning people, instead of fans banning themselves from going to games, sounds like they're gathering and they're going to games. They've drawn an average of 8,600 people a game, but a reverse boycott, I think it's called, in Oakland. A reverse boycott. Well, you know what? They have not been supporting that team for years, and I get it. 8,600 fans per game, that's not good. But when they've been contending, they weren't drawing. And I don't know the whole situation out there. I hear the stadium has been deteriorating and all that, but you got good baseball teams out there, and you still don't draw. I mean, you've had more good baseball teams in the 53 years the Brewers have been around than the Brewers have had. You've had World Series titles. You've had the Bash Brothers. You had those teams, the Moneyball teams. You had the teams a couple of years ago, and they still can't support baseball in Oakland. 8,600 per game. But I get it now. It's a lame duck team. But my God. So they're among the worst. They're among the worst in pitching and defense and offense, and are on track for like a 44-win team, which is going to put them right around the bad teams in baseball history. You know, in our recent memory, the Detroit Tigers of 2019, they were bad, like won 43 games. You know, the 62 Mets for years had been the standard. But Oakland is on pace. Jace Peterson, Brewers have some familiar, the A's have some familiar Brewer faces over there. Jace Peterson, Jesus Aguilar just got released. Mark Kotze, who played here a few years ago on the 2011 team, I want to say. Yeah, Kotze. He's the team's manager. Their two best players are Brent Rooker, their DH, Ryan Nora, their first baseman. They're two best better hitters. But right now, everybody else on that team, not good. Not good. Sam Maul is their starting pitcher for Friday night. I'm more concerned how Adrian Hauser is going to pitch for the Brewers than what Sam Maul is going to do for the Oakland A's. Hauser pitched great last Sunday against Cincinnati. 7 innings, 1 inning pitched, 1 earned run. 7 innings, 1 earned run. That's beyond anything I could ever imagine Adrian Hauser can accomplish. But he got it done last Sunday, and he opens the series. So it's a 7:10 start on Friday, 3:10 on Saturday, 1:10 on Sunday. Get out and enjoy the game. Great weather, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, the roof might be there. Like I said, chance of rain 60 degrees. But man, I wish the Brewers could have swept this series with Baltimore. Because going into Oakland, the series with Oakland, he had a chance to go 10 games over the 500 mark. All right, got to check out. Again, the game tomorrow, SiriusXM, the SXM app. If you're traveling around anywhere in the country, you get that. Search Brewers, and you're going to get every Brewers broadcast right there on SiriusXM, 7:10 with the broadcast coming up on Friday night. Thank you all you everydayers out there watching us on YouTube, downloading the podcast. Couldn't do without you. Yeah, that was a frustrating day, Thursday. But I warned you. I said early in the game. I said, yep, don't be resting on this lead. And they did. Don't be resting on leads. They did. Midway through the game, they got burned. All right, that's going to do it for the show today. I'm Chuck Freeman. This is Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Talk to you tomorrow night, everybody, after the Brewers and Oakland A's in that first game of the series.